Good evening, my fellow infected psychopaths. Today I'll be injecting you with the insanity that is my voice. Let's get started. So if you remember, in the last video I talked about the motor as well as the concept of the gun's mechanism. In this video I'll be talking about the parts of the upcoming assault rifle as well as some new changes I made in the gun. So as you can see, this is the internals of the mechanism. As you also see, it looks a little complicated, but it's actually pretty simple. Here we have the heart of the gun, also known as the bolt. The bolt is specially designed to hit levers as well as the switches of the guns at certain points. If you notice on top, the bolt has the gear-like two plates. The purpose of this is to allow the bolt to be able to slide back and forth with the gear mechanism. I'll be talking about that shortly in the video. If you notice at the one end of the gun, there's these two parts which has the rubber band of the gun. This is what actually allows the gun to fire. You'll understand why later in the video. Although the bolt is practically the heart of the gun, the gear system is like the muscle that does all the work. The gear system is specially designed so it can handle the tension of the rubber bands. Steve, can you tell the lovely psychos here what kind of motor it is?
6-12V mini-DC motor. High-volt airflow tracks, SRC and power wheels PCB. DI by electric frame.
The electric system is actually rather simple. I actually had to go to our almighty God. As you can see in the picture, the mechanism is hooked up to one power source, which is good because I don't have to add more batteries. One switch controls one direction of the motor, while the other switch controls the other direction. This is very useful to me because without this electric motor, it wouldn't actually be a machine gun. As you can see, when I remove the bolt, you can actually see the other mechanisms that lies within the gun. When I mentioned earlier in the video the bolt was designed to reach certain points of the gun, this is one of the points. This mechanism is designed so when the bolt goes back and hits a certain point, it activates a switch which sends the bolt forward again. As the bolt goes forward, when it reaches the end of the gun, it actually hits another switch and releasing the other switch, sending the bolt back again. This is what gives the gun its machine gun mechanism. On one side of the gear mechanism, there's two wheels. One of them can move slightly freely, but not really. There's another wheel on the other side that's actually bolted down in place. This is to create friction, so when the switches get pushed, it'll stay pushed down until the mechanism is able to release it. The power source, I'm using 3 IMR batteries. Steve, you know drill, tell the people what they want here.
Ultra 5 BRC 18650, 3000 mAh 3.7 iron.
The trigger mechanism is quite simple. A trigger's purpose is to stop the projectile from moving until the trigger is pulled or pushed. The trigger of the gun has a lift arm which is also attached to a lever. This is designed so when the bolt reaches forward and hits that lever, it releases the trigger, which sends the projectile flying. This part was a little tricky, mostly due to the fact that I had such little space to work with. The projectile pusher purpose is to push the projectile into the rubber band. Just like the trigger, it also has the lever that won't move unless the bolt reaches it. The magazine of the gun isn't really nothing special. It uses the same mechanism that you see in a lot of common LEGO guns. Mine does differ slightly, and mostly due in cost. Mostly because if you notice on the back here, it uses a LEGO Technic plates. This was to save cost, so I won't have to use too many lift arms. Mostly because making LEGO guns ain't cheap, so I'm always willing to find ways to save money. However, the projectile is very different than what I normally use. Rather than using simple LEGO bricks, I specially made this to be more aerodynamic and to slide underneath the rubber band. With all the mechanisms working at the same time, it allows the gun to be fully functional. However, the gun still needs work. Like for instance, I think I might want to modify the trigger mechanism just slightly. As well as add a magazine lock system. That way the magazine won't slide out of the gun, unless if I want it to. Also need to add a handle. And I'd need build the other wall of the gun, obviously. But that's all the time we have today for this class of arsenal. Tune in for my next project where I show you how the gun fires and how it works out. Make sure to like and subscribe. Also hit or shoot the notification bell. Also make sure to check out my Twitter as well for my daily life updates as well as upcoming projects. Until next time, see you later, you psychopaths.